Conor McGregor was the sport of MMA. He had it all. Nobody was ever as big in MMA as Conor McGregor.
Conor's an extraordinary person.
He has greatness.
Yes, he has greatness.
Whatever Conor McGregor does is must see. He has done so much financially that he's on his way to becoming a billionaire. But there's one thing in his way, and that's himself.
Jake's a consummate professional, 75 movies made. You know, I'm blessed to have entered into the movie alongside him.
He went from super unlikely to being successful to very successful in MMA to, oh my God, this guy might become a billionaire, to now he's the only thing really on his own way of becoming a billionaire. But how did this entire process work?
People are always saying about the talk and I talk and I talk and I talk, but guess fucking what? I back it up.
You see, most people that are really good in the octagon, people don't care as much about just because they can't drive the same amount of attention to their fights. They're fighters. They're not promoters. One of the most important factors that made him is he was around. At the beginning of his career, he would fight anybody. He would call people out and predict their future concussions. And he did it. He was really good at it. And he would be great at cutting promos.
Who else is there like me in the game? Ever in the history of the game? Who has ever done what I've done? Who has been like me?
And even to this day, Conor McGregor is, by a large margin, the biggest star in the sport, even though he's been retired and unretired multiple times. However, the aura of Conor has slowly vanished. So are we looking at the rise and fall of Conor McGregor? I guess we'll have to see. Conor McGregor in his early career was a perfect example of try anything, even if it sucks. He would go on shows.
It is extremely fun, beating people up for lots of money.
Is there, are there conversations?
I certainly let them know that they hit weak.
He would take on fighters, all of which would be extremely risky at the time. But he would put his best foot forward. But some things changed along the way. This could be the UFC having him sit down for a year when he was ready to compete. It could be freak injuries, bad losses, inactivity, getting arrested, drugs, or maybe a combination of all of these things. And it's crazy to think, 8 years back in 2015, Conor McGregor was a star of the show. Better than Jon Jones, better than Nick Diaz, better than Ronda Rousey. And like I said, he would make promises that he would back up every single time.
There's a lot of great stars up here, a lot of huge fights, but let's see by the end of 2015, let's see who has the highest pay-per-view numbers, let's see who has the highest gate, let's see who has the highest...
Because Conor McGregor would outdraw each and every single one of those names. As Conor McGregor would line up to face Jose Aldo for the title, and as McGregor usually does, he stole the show. At the very last second, Aldo pulled out. For Conor McGregor,
Just carry on business as usual, isn't it?
it was just business as usual. Conor accepted an interim title fight against probably the worst matchup he had at the time, Chad Mendes. Conor was actually about that life. It wasn't just all hype. He would face anybody at any time.
And he ain't just talking, because I've been standing in his living room looking at him saying, Conor, your opponent fell out.
No, but this motherfucker phone.
He doesn't give a shit.
Jose, me, Chad, whoever the fuck. Whoever it is getting fucked up bad.
It didn't matter if it was Chad Mendes or Jose Aldo. He was gonna beat the hell out of them. And that's exactly what he did. He beat Chad Mendes up in Las Vegas in UFC 189. And he destroyed Jose Aldo with one punch in 194. A total of 13 seconds. This is the biggest undisputed star that the featherweight division has had. And even, arguably, the biggest star the UFC has ever had. But he was not satisfied. He wanted the UFC lightweight championship in UFC 194. So he had one target in mind, Rafael dos Anjos.
All this other stuff and I'd go through the whole roster in 4 months. And I tell you that right now, I'll whoop every single one of them inside 4 months and cut out all this shit. Bring me in, weigh me in, and I'll fight the next night and wipe out the entire game. 2015 was my year. 2016 is also my year. Every year is my fucking year.
And when he said this, people believed him because everything he said he was doing to the point. RDA dealt with a broken foot and Nate Diaz would come in as a replacement.
It doesn't matter what weight divisions or anything or even what belt is on the line, because really I should create my own belt, because I am in myself my own belt. It doesn't matter weight. It doesn't matter if it's a featherweight, the lightweight, the welterweight. I don't give a either. I don't give a either.
He would lose to Nate Diaz. However, the loss did not break him. It actually further motivated him to go out there and get better and beat him back. And he did a couple of months later. And then Conor McGregor would main event Madison Square Garden in UFC 205. the first ever show in New York. And he would defeat Eddie Alvarez almost a little too easily. And in the post-fight press conference, the new champ would say something which in hindsight is signal his end in the fighting kingdom.
Now, they've got to come talk to me now, that's all I know. I've got both belts, a chunk of money. You want me to stick around? You want me to keep doing what I'm doing? Let's talk, but I want ownership now. I want equal share. I want what I deserve, what I've earned.
There were so many contenders in 145 and 155. However, he pretty much had the UFC in his hand. He strong-armed them to book him into a fight against Floyd Mayweather. And this was for an outrageous sum of money. Of course, Floyd Mayweather is gonna win. I think nobody really expected Conor McGregor to win all that much. But with that being said, he made $100 million on it, so I don't think he cared all that much about winning. He was no loser either. Keep in mind, this $100 million excludes the UFC tax. And now Conor McGregor was acting like he had it all. He was enjoying his life, posting all his scars on Instagram and everything. And as fighters called him out, his shadow grew larger. He would trash everybody on Twitter, but he would still remain in the sidelines for over 2 years. And he would make return the biggest UFC event of all time, 229. This fight definitely had the feeling of the biggest fight ever. And what would happen in the octagon would redefine MMA as we know it.
Backwards, cunt. Yeah, dead when I get my hands on you, do you hear me? You just show up to this fight and we do this the noble way. Pull out and then you know what's gonna happen to you back home, kid. So that's all I'll say about that.
If you watched last week's video, you know exactly what happened here. He would put him in a neck cramp and make him tap out. Conor could not take the loss to Khabib, and he would go into a Twitter outburst. The ones that previously sounded confident, it sounded desperate and flat out toxic. The Khabib loss hunted McGregor, and while he's always known for getting into trouble, after the Khabib loss, it got way worse over and over again. However, McGregor still had his fans, and a lot of them believed that he was still the best in the world. Khabib was a terrible match for him on paper. However, Conor McGregor still had more skill than most people anyways. Conor McGregor had to surrender his throne to Khabib. I made a video about that. And McGregor did not take this well.
I want my world title back. I want that redemption. The camp was incorrect.
Controversy, the legal battles, and the activity. And it got worse and worse. Yes, he would go on to beat Donald Cerrone, but let's be honest, Donald Cerrone is really good, yet he's not at Conor McGregor's level. And then Conor McGregor would go to another party, and another of these parties would go wrong. And once again, Conor McGregor would be outside of the octagon for a year. The last chapter as a legitimate fighter for Conor McGregor was a trilogy saga against Dustin Poirier. He would open up as a favorite against Dustin Poirier. However, all that betting bullshit ends when you step on that ring. And Conor McGregor,
he got knocked out by a man who at one point couldn't get near him.
And then the trilogy, he would get stretchered out. He was defeated by Dustin and Karma, both. Conor McGregor, who was for so long considered the best pound for pound fighter, he's now just an attraction. He will return at UFC 303, or will he?
Conor McGregor is officially 100% not competing against Michael Chandler.
Conor McGregor is out of 303 versus Michael Chandler with an
This
injury.
is what Conor McGregor had to say. He said, "It's very tough to be ruled out of my scheduled return bout. I picked up an injury." Conor went on to say that his fans and opponent deserve him at his best for the fight, and we will get there. Chill. Why'd you start laughing?
The fans deserve him at his best. He was at the club 2 weeks ago, and 2 months before that, he was in Saudi Arabia trying to get in a boxing match with Manny Pacquiao. McGregor's not hurt. I don't know. We're making TV here. How much we're supposed to play along? Conor McGregor is not injured.
He was the king. He had it all. And then it was ripped away from his hands, and he could wish nothing more than to have that back. So what did Khabib do with that golden throne? Well, you can check that video out, find out, and you can watch one of the contributing factors right there. So I will see you in those videos. See ya.
It's all on the coat, ballin' now, skirt down, all of these diamonds sold. Bought 'em for me with the yours now. You could drink it, but take it slow. Ballin' for you, fallin' for you.